Well, welcome to Father and Son, except Son's not here today. I've been overseas for 3 weeks, had a very, very interesting trip where I caught up with a lot of my old people I did business with all over the world and a lot of friends. Now, just in summary, I was in the south of France where, of course, that is the best part of the world, has the best restaurants in the world. The Colonne d'Or, just fantastic restaurant. The Voile d'Or, the restaurants in John Cap Ferrat, outstanding. Really had a great time there and stayed with my friend Richard Wiesner in his 17th century villa on 400 acres, beautiful place. Then went to London for 6 days, and Europe's a real worry. I don't see any long-term solution to the euro at all. Britain itself is lucky not to be in the euro, but it's having a lot of difficulty, and I think they've got to change their attitude. I think the German Prime Minister, whatever she's called, has got it wrong. You can't just have austerity, which is contracting jobs all through Europe, particularly in these weak countries like Greece, Spain, etc. They've got a government in those periods when there's a recession, and there is a recession in Europe, they've got to stimulate by spending money. Now, I know it's a difficult problem at the moment because they're so indebted, some of these nations, but there has to be a change of plan, and I'm certain the UK have now woken up to this. I think the euro's dead in the water. I think it's just going to have a long, painful death, and it's going to keep the Australian dollar artificially high. I then went on to the US and met some top people. My friend Philip Purcell, who used to be chairman of Morgan Stanley worldwide, chief executive, several other prominent people. And what came out of that is that all of a sudden there's a glimmer of hope in the US. There's some interesting articles in the press over there which basically said that the housing market has started to improve, particularly in the good suburbs around every city in the US. There are no vacancies. So if you live in a Winnetka or a Wilmette outside Chicago, there are no vacancies, house prices are on the rise. It's only in the lesser suburbs where there's still a lot of difficulty. You can borrow money at 3.4% on a mortgage rate, which has to be attractive for people. And I just get a sense that things will start to recover. Now that'll be very good for Australia because that'll push the US dollar higher and will help lessen our dollar. And our economy is obviously very two-paced, and we need our dollar a good deal lower. The euro's not going to help us, but the US dollar might. Presidential election, again talking to people who should know. Al Checky, I went and stayed with, he used to run Northwest Airlines, he stood for Governor of California. Basically everybody I spoke to, 5 or 6 prominent people, all said it's too close to call, it's a line ball, it's 50-50. But each one of them, they're probably all Republican voters, think the odds are with Romney to keep picking up ground. And so if you're going to have a bet, and it is an even money bet, you bet on Romney. So much for my trip. I did take the drive from San Francisco down to LA. What a wonderful part of the world there at Carmel, and went to the great Pebble Beach Golf Club. Just fantastic. A trip well worth doing. And there's that some fantastic sights. If you like the Great Ocean Road, this trip is a bit like the Great Ocean Road, except it's about 10 times longer. All right, we're back to the football. While I've been away, the Blues haven't been too good at all. They've improved, but they got beaten by Geelong because of bad kicking, and then they just failed over in Western Australia to beat West Coast. Tonight is a big game, and Juddy's playing his 100th game for the Carlton Football Club, and that means it's his 234th game of AFL football. We need him going well, no doubt about it. The Carltonians, which is one of the leading support groups at Carlton, is having a celebration, 25th anniversary of Carlton's win in 1987 over Hawthorn. So I'll hopefully be participating in that. Other matters, we've got the Ron Barassi debate. It's the 10th anniversary. We go to Tasmania every year to talk and have a debate about something. And this is the 10th anniversary, and we're taking down people like Sam Kekovich, myself, Percy Jones and others, and we're really going to praise up Ron Barassi because he is an icon of the game, and all the money is raised for underprivileged children to be able to play sport, and the whole of Tasmania turns up because they haven't got much to do down there. So that's going to be a big weekend. We're going down, having it on a Saturday, because West Coast will be playing North Melbourne in Hobart on the day. Liberal matters, well, that Clive Palmer's causing trouble in the federal council meeting for the Liberal Party here in Melbourne this weekend. I reckon he's totally out of line. I think he's not going to do the Liberal Party much good. I'm sick of the refugee problem. I've only been back a week. It's the only thing that's been in the press other than Rupert Murdoch splitting his businesses. Clearly the Nauru is a much better solution than Malaysia for one reason. In Nauru, we Australians control the processing. Whereas if you send them back to Malaysia, the Malaysians control the processing. I think she's just pig-headed, the Prime Minister, in not accepting this. I've got a lot of speaking engagements. Never been so busy. I'm going to Tasmania, I'm going to country Victoria on 3 occasions. So if any of you want some decent speech making done, just get onto the website. I'm cheap, much cheaper than Sam Kekovich. And finally, I just wanted to mention, it was in the press the last few days, I've always been on about manners. I wear a tie every day at work, and I tell people, if you want to come to my office, I'm not going to see you unless you've got a tie on. I think dress standards have deteriorated significantly in the last 10 years in business. All of a sudden, some of the companies are starting to say you're going to have to wear a tie, you're going to have to dress better, because you should look like someone who knows what they're doing, not one of the boys. So all of you out there, wear a tie when you go to work. It's good manners. That's it for this week. Go the Blues. We're going to beat Hawthorn. Tough assignment. Let's hope. Tom will be back next week, I think. And have a lovely weekend.